1 year ago, I tier tested in every PvP game mode. Sword, Netherite, pot, SMP, PvP, UHC, PvP, axe, and crystal. With me getting tier 5 in every single game mode, let's see how I do a year after I initially tested in these game modes. So first up we have Sword. It was my main game mode back then and it still is today. So with the test being a 1st to 6, I somehow ended up selling a 5 to 2 lead, which is honestly just sad. However, I still managed to get low tier 3. The next game mode was Netherite pot, and what's neat was that my tester was actually the same person who had first tested me. This meant that I honestly had a decently accurate gauge on how much better I had gotten. So I ended up getting low tier 4, which I am completely satisfied with. Though you can argue that my sword skill should have carried me over to high tier 4, I don't really know how to play nether pot, and besides, my aim isn't the best anyways. Now I'm gonna quickly mention that I don't have any footage of my axe tests. Though I have gotten better, like a lot better, unfortunately I'm still in that high tier 5 category. The next game is gonna be crystal, though this test is honestly just me toteming. I did manage to get high tier 4 somehow. I would personally say that I'm low tier 4 in crystal, I just don't have any good tests to prove it. Though I do have this mid clip for you guys that I took right before my test. Now time for the actual test. So even though I got cooked, apparently my toteming is above low tier 3, I still don't see how I got high tier 4 though. The next game mode is Diamond Pot, which is probably the game mode in MCtiers that's the most reliant on sword skill other than sword. Now as soon as I saw my tester was a high tier 3, honestly I got extremely scared, but I just had to lock in. Holy cell, bro, I'm actually getting cooked. How are they so good? Bro, how did I already run out of pots? It's been like less than a minute. Miraculously, I ended up getting high tier 4. However, I did have an extremely nice tester, probably the nicest one I've ever met, so I just wanted to thank them for testing me. But anyways, them being nice probably played into their judgment a little bit, so I would say that I'm high tier 4, but like a really bad one. The next game mode is SMP PvP. My first test in this, I ended up getting low tier 5 because, well, I had like absolutely no idea how to play it, and it was my genuine first time seeing the kit. With my tester also being high tier 3 sword, let's see how I do. I ran out of pearls back there. So I ended up getting low tier 4 in SMP, which honestly makes sense. My shield disables are fine, my melee is fine, but I'm nothing past low tier 4, I'm just average. The next and final game mode is UHC. Now, this is the game mode I've had somewhat of a negative relationship with. In my first test, I complained about not being able to play UHC due to lack of keybinds and slow reflexes. Though I've learned how to use all the utilities in UHC and have gotten a lot better, there's still one thing that bugs me. In UHC, natural regeneration is off, so that means it's extremely easy to get drained when you're playing melee. With me having good sword skills and actually decent shield disables, I should be good at UHC melee in theory. But the thing is, whenever I tier test in UHC, it's like my melee just stops working and I fail. And not only that, my test was going to be conducted on PvP Legacy, a server where I ghost bucket. So if I wanted to get low tier 4, I was going to have to lock in. Bro, what the heck? How did you jump over 2 cobwebs in a row? So anyways, for reasons that I know not, the video just ends there, but I ended up dying, as you can probably all tell. So I ended up getting low tier 4, which I'm extremely happy with. So now, with the exception of axe, I've gotten tier 4 in every game mode at one point or another. I started out as low tier 5 in sword, I'm now low tier 3. I started out as high tier 5 in netherpot, I'm now low tier 4. I started out as low tier 5 in diamond pot, I'm now high tier 4. I started out as low tier 5 in SMP, I'm now low tier 4. I started as high tier 5 in crystal, and I'm now high tier 4. And lastly, I started out as high tier 5 in UHC, and I'm now low tier 4. I did get low tier 4 at Mason one point, though I ended up getting demoted back to high tier 5 because my tester thought he was a Boeing 747. So anyways, that's the end of the video, and thank you for watching. And if you've watched this far and haven't subscribed, please do. It's completely free and it helps me out a ton. Thanks.